Hello and welcome to our hair. So this is a special vlog. Why is it special? Because it's not just me, it's me and my wife. And we just watched the Opray Winfrey Show that Rosie was on. Did you see it? And I thought it would be fun, since we seem to be highly opinionated, if we discussed it. Would that be okay with you, dear?
Yes.
Alright. So, the first thing I wanted to say is that I thought that Ro was nervous. Did you think that she was nervous?
I think she was a little hyper at the beginning, yes.
Well, she was kind of like on a high, right? Kind of loud.
Yeah, but like I said before, I feel like, you know, if I was going on Oprah, I would be the same way. I mean, just because Rosie is Rosie doesn't mean that she doesn't act just like any of us, that you're going to be on the on the Opray Winfrey Show.
Well, to be more specific, I thought that Ro was pressing. She was kind of pressing. You know, like, she wasn't in her groove. Like, you know, when you listen to her on the radio, she's just a little more calmer and just didn't press. And she was pressing. I think she settled down. Do you think she settled down?
No, I would not say she was pressing, so I'm going to...
All right, so we disagree right out of the chute about how this actually went.
Well, I think we agree she was hyper, so there's something.
All right, well, I think she was pressing, and the wife doesn't, so it's 1 and 1.
Yeah,
and then,
wait, I want to say...
No, we can't wait, we're busy.
I don't think she was pressing. I think that she was just, you know, a little bit over-eager, but not pressing, because I found her to be very captivating.
Well, she can be captivating and all of that, but she was pressing. She was loud, and she was sort of bull rushing and pressing.
Yeah, she's probably ironing too.
Right, not just pressing
and
her clothes.
A little dry cleaning in the back.
Okay, so we're already into the smart-ass part of this thing. We didn't expect to get here for 5 or 6 minutes, but
all right,
here we are. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to say was that I was really... Are you laughing over there?
Yeah, I am. But
little
go
woman
ahead.
is laughing. The
time.
question is at me, with me, or... Never mind. Anyway, I was really glad that Rosie talked to Oprah about when she called her. Remember, at 2 a.m. she called her about Columbine. I don't know if you know that story, but... I've heard Rosie talk about it many, many times over the years. When Columbine happened, Rosie had her show, and she was devastated by it and felt like something had to be done. And she called Oprah Winfrey at 2 a.m., crying hysterically, beseeching her to basically, what did she say, start like a League of Justice?
Yeah, like gather all the
powerful Wonder Women,
all the superhero women,
and start their own like League of Justice and do something about it.
Yeah.
And Oprah just was not, and in Oprah's words, was just not as affected by it as Rosie. I mean, it was sad and it was horrible, but not to the degree that Rosie was. And blah blah blah. Rosie said that she the next day felt really icky about it, like she'd really overstepped her bounds or whatever, calling Oprah, and Oprah just didn't respond the way that she did, blah, blah, blah. She felt funny, so she said she got rid of all the phone numbers that she had for Oprah on all her phones, so that no matter what, she would never do that again, and she's kind of carried that ever since. And first of all, I totally get it, because there's been times I've written to Rosie on her blog and regretted it later, because... Anyway, point is, I understood it, and I was so glad that what Oprah said to Rosie was, you know, Ro, I didn't really think twice about that phone call. I hung up the phone and I thought, wow, Rosie is really affected by this, and that was it. And Rosie's carried it around almost like she burned her bridge with Oprah, wouldn't you agree?
I think that what she did was she regretted that move, because what Rosie talks about is how she doesn't want people to see her vulnerable. She talks about that quite a bit on the show. And I think what she is regretting is that by calling Oprah, she sort of was very vulnerable with her, because she talked about how she was emotional and how it affected her. And so I think she felt on a certain sort of level, without her saying it, is sort of like you and I would say we felt stupid, you know, like that kind of thing. And so... yeah, I do think she regretted that.
I was thinking that.
It was good that she got to say something, because I think it healed that moment.
I was thinking that it was sort of like, you know, Animal House, the first time that John Belushi goes, "That's do it! And he runs out of the room and nobody follows him. I think that Rosie kind of had that, you know, like she was calling Oprah and she expected Oprah to go, let's do it! And when she didn't, she felt icky. So,
Yeah.
And I get it. I totally get it. So, anyway, my point on that part is that I really, really, really hope that maybe, I don't think that Rosie was really, I feel like she was all one way. She was all output. I know you don't think so, but I do. And I hope she watched it back, because if she watched it back and wasn't critiquing herself, but was just listening to Oprah, I think Oprah was genuine in what she said and how she felt, and maybe she could let that go. And I would hope that she would want to let that go. And then on the same note, Rosie talks in her book, Celebrity Detox, about fame and how it's a drug. And I thought it was really interesting that Oprah said she agreed that it was a drug, fame was a drug, but that it never drugged her. What did you think about that, little woman?
Well, I think that's not true.
You think Oprah's in denial?
That Oprah has been Oprah. You become a different person. She did say that she's been this person for 25 plus years because she's been on TV, so I don't think she remembers the old Oprah. But clearly, you know, there are things that happen for people that are famous. I remember Rosie talking one time, not on this show, but one time about how she was like, I'm going to get that, you know, a bunch of free stuff for whatever. And no one was willing to give her free stuff because she wasn't on the show anymore, you know. She wasn't that big celebrity. Oprah, I don't know if Oprah will ever feel that, because even without the show, Oprah is Oprah. I mean, come on. Oprah elected our president.
Well, yeah, there is that. So, moving on, and I do agree with that whole thing you just said, just for the record, in case y'all are keeping
Not that
score.
I don't love the president.
Not that my wife is winning, if you're keeping score, just also for
we
the
are
record.
not keeping score.
We are
a
too.
team.
But yes, we are. So, the next thing I wanted to say is I thought that Rosie was spot on about what she said about trying to demand a connection from Barbara Walters when she was talking about the snafu of, you know, The View and how she left and all that, you know, firestorm and everything. And she was so hurt because Barbara Walters didn't stick up for her. And I think that Rosie was spot on, that she was expecting the same connection she felt back from Barbara. So I thought that also was really, really telling, and I hope healing for Rosie to get that out there. And what was so telling about it is that she said when they had the big fight that everybody talks about in the makeup room and how Rosie flipped out on Barbara, is that Rosie was upset and she was hurt, and that's how she basically attacks. She becomes aggressive as an armor to protect herself. And if she would have been braver or allowed herself to be vulnerable, she would have just cried to demonstrate how she really felt. When she went home, she cried for days and days and days. So I thought that was really powerful. What did you think?
I agree. But I think for me, I will always see that not so much about Rosie. For me, I think that is more about Barbara Walters, because for me, I've always sort of looked up to Barbara Walters because she was this woman. You know, the older I became, the more I started hearing stories about, you know, the Harry, was that Reisner guy? Is that who it was? Or whoever who wouldn't, like, acknowledge her when she tried to co-anchor, and all the trials and tribulations she went through as a woman, you know, busting into basically a man's world. And so I always just revered her. But now, not so much. I have a hard time watching Barbara, really because of the whole Rosie thing. And I think for me, it is more about how Barbara really let us down, because all she cared about during that whole argument was keeping her social circle okay. She had time to call Donald Trump and ease that, because that's her circle, you know what I mean? But not Rosie, who was really somebody who was very loyal to Barbara, more than Donald Trump was loyal to Barbara. So,
well, for sure, but I think that Rosie kind of hit it right on the head from the very beginning. You know, I hated Barbara Walters when I was growing up. I thought she was a phony, stuck-up bitch. And then,
well, that's what I think of her now, babe.
I know. I know what you think. I'm trying to tell you what I think.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is that I felt that way when I was a kid. And then she started The View, and I started listening to her, and not just listening to her, but listening to other people talk about her, and I started to have respect for her because I understood that how she had to fight her way up in a man's world. And I'm also really kind of intrigued because if you know anything about Barbara Walters, you know that her father was a big-time gambler and that she was exposed to all this kind of shady stuff when she was younger, and there's that side of it. And what I'm getting at is I feel like Barbara Walters had to be this tough-skinned broad that never let anyone see her sweat to get where she had to go, and this is no different for her. And maybe on the one hand she thought Rosie was weak for that. I think on the biggest thing I think about her is that she's old school, and old school is you never let them know how you feel about anything. You always take the middle of the road, you don't take sides, blah, 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 and I think that's what it was, and I think her call to Donald Trump was actually to cool him out. It wasn't about taking sides, it wasn't about going against Rosie, it was what she does. She keeps the calm, she keeps the harmony, but I want to say, just like you, I was pissed at her because we're fiercely loyal to Rosie, and we felt like she wronged Rosie. So, you know, we're like that. We love Rosie even with her thorns, and we felt like Barbara let her down, and we know that's how she felt, blah, blah, blah. But at full circle for me is I'm no longer mad at Barbara. I just sort of understand that she's a tiger who can't change her stripes. That's how she is. She learned to never show how she felt about anything, and this was no different. But it also is, ask yourself, who is Barbara Walters even close to? Nobody. Nobody.
Right, I agree.
So that would be what I would say about that. And then, what did you think about her girlfriend, her new girlfriend, Rosie's new girlfriend with, what has she got, like 84 kids? What did you think of that?
All right, well, you're asking me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so...
What do you think I'm asking me?
No, I just, yeah.
What, are you new?
I think that Rosie has always wanted to be surrounded by a lot of children. I really do. And I can't presume to know her family life, but I always got the feeling that she would have liked to have had more children when she was with Kelly. And so I'm not surprised that she would be attracted to somebody from a big family.
Okay, but does it freak you out that Rosie said they're going to move in together? Does it freak you out at all?
You don't even want me to tell you the same answer I just told you before we did the camera.
Sure I do, obviously.
Okay, no, I'm not freaked out. I mean, this is coming from the person
hey, no,
okay,
no.
I'm not going to say it then. That's the answer.
We don't go there. No, just, a simple yes or no,
No, it doesn't
need to
freak
parade
me out.
witnesses.
I see that she's a kind of person who makes a decision and goes after it. This woman clearly makes her very happy, and so she's, going after it, and having those children around her would also make her happy. So I don't think I'm surprised by that at all.
Okay. Well, I guess I am. I don't know how long they've been dating. I pray it's at least 6 months because, lesbians, second thing we do on a date, the second date, we bring the U-Haul, and I'm praying it's not like that.
Or ring after 9.
Oh, well,
Go ahead.
There it is. 9 months. I asked her to marry me after we dated for 9 months. In lesbian years, that's like 3 years.
Not to me, though.
Validate me.
To me, I thought that was
she's
pretty rushed.
Crazy, frankly. She married me. It's pretty obvious. Anyway, I hope that they have been dating for at least 6 months because that's an awful lot of kids that are involved. And, what does she have? 70, 40, 16 kids? What does she have? This other lady, who's pretty, by the way, and
I think
looks...
she has 6.
Okay. All right, well, it was like a football team.
6 or 5, something like that.
Right, hike. My point really, though, is that if you're going to move all these kids, you're going to blend Rosie's kids and this lady's kids, and it's just a lot of people in the balance, so I really hope that if they're going to do that, move this woman and her children from Texas and all that I hope that it's what should be at this time, blah, blah, blah. So, not judging, I'm just wishing and hoping.
You know what? Can I say one thing?
I don't think so.
I love how you worry for her. I do love how you worry for her.
I love her.
I know.
I love her.
I love how you worry for her. It's based out of love. Anyway,
right.
Go ahead.
Couple last things, because this is going to be like 14 hours long, I think.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I think Rosie fixed her teeth.
She did.
It looked to me like she fixed her teeth. I wasn't paying attention. I was really absorbing and enjoying, the show. and thinking, wow, you know, Oprah did an entire hour on Rosie. That's got to be a lot of pressure. Think about it. Most of the time when Oprah does a show, it's like, you know, first 10 minutes is this and the next is that and that. Or more and more people come on as the show goes, the cast of a movie. It was Rosie and Oprah for an hour, and I loved it, and I was hoping for a connection. And towards the end I went, wait a minute. Did she fix her teeth? Because, you know what, I think she did, because normally I would notice that they're not good. You know, I felt like her teeth were too long, too big. It gave her this weird overbite, looked like she was frowning all the time. I don't think that's there anymore. I'm so, so happy that she did that. If not, otherwise I'm on the moon, and it wasn't a problem. But seriously, it looks like she did, and it looked great, Rosie. It looked great. And then finally, Oprah said, tell us something we don't know about you, Rosie. And after pondering, Rosie looks in the audience and goes, I'm not wearing any underwear right now. Would not have been my choice. Even if it were true, it is not what I might have said. I just farted before I would have said, I'm not wearing any underwear. I don't know why. Is it me? But commando seems like a personal choice that's nobody's business.
Except maybe your girlfriend.
Well, of course.
Or a boyfriend.
Of course.
That way. Hey, I'd like to say one thing.
No.
More than the commando part, really, it was the word underpants. Underpants. That was the thing. Like, Rosie, come on. Underpants? Really?
Really, not underwear, not thong, or
oh my God,
whatever. So, really, to make a long vlog,
Wait, don't
a little bit
underpants sound
longer.
like those big honking underwear?
They kind of do. Like, in the unlikely event of a water landing, my underpants can be used as a floaties in the bath. Just blow them up a little bit. Or you can parachute. That's right. Don't worry, I'll save us. Grab onto my ass. Yeah, so seriously, yeah, Ro, you gotta fix that. And then I just want to reiterate for the last thing, I hope Ro watches it back 400 or 500 times so she gets done picking herself apart, because that's what I would do, and then she just listens to what Oprah said, because I thought Oprah was so sweet to her, clearly, in my opinion, on her side, trying to make a connection, proud of her. So, and it was neat. My wife liked what she said when she said, you're the star of a movie in my mind, or whatever.
You're a star in the movie. No, you don't realize that you are important to me, and you're sort of like a star in my movie. You just don't even know you've been casted in it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's pretty powerful. So I really hope it makes it all good for Rosie, because I know it's important to her. Deep down inside, it really matters to her what Oprah thinks of her, and it would me too, frankly. You get a car, and no, really, seriously, it would. So that's it. That's all. I know this was damn long, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for playing with me, lady.
I love you, baby.
I love you too. Pieces.